Students are known, valued, and empowered to thrive. Are there any additional items for the agenda?
The only thing is, like I said earlier, that I did add a last-minute resignation that came to us this afternoon.
Okay. Anything else? If not, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Laura Size. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Monica Erickson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 6-0. Yeah. Let's see, recognition of visitors. We have a couple members of the press and a teacher here, so welcome. Positive recognition. Anybody have anything? I see Laura has a long list.
I do, so if others want to go, I might cross off as you go.
I don't have anything.
Just start in on them.
Okay, well, I just want to say good job to the National Honor Society for the sharing and caring that they do each Christmas, so. And then we have a whole bunch of records that were broken, and I don't remember if we've covered some of these or not, but Nevaeh Weimert and Gavin Bauer have both hit their 1,000 point marks in basketball. Dalton Bauer, congratulations for the boys' all-time leading scorer. And then 10 days later, Katie Olson hit the girls' all-time leading scoring record. Michaela Wheelock had a record of the most threes with 8 in a game. And then Brady Murphy got his 110th wrestling win. Also, congratulations to Heather Moore for being honored as Outstanding Agricultural Education. Congratulations to Snow Queen Ellie Morshing and Snow King Dalton Bauer. And then congratulations to the first ever graduates of JWP's EMR course. Sherry and I were there to witness that. That was a really neat celebration. So congratulations to Braden Blazing, Raylan Blazing, Zach Blazing, Destin Hill, Dylan Hood, Gavin Loken, Lily Quast, Tyler Schmall, and Jason Wheelock. We had a lot going on last month.
So, and along with those, we had the Bulldog Cafe that was at the leadership conference with us last week. They had a really great time.
That's right.
So,
How'd that go?
it went very well.
Good.
Anybody have anything else? We will move on to reports and presentations. Chloe, you're up.
Oh, I'm up. Hooray. Not much, just other than everyone's getting back into the swing of having a long weekend, just gaining the ability to be back. However, last week, me, Kaylee, and Annie, we were the school board reps that were a part of the food service feedback. They all asked us to be there so that Murray could ask us questions to like try and improve the menu here and everything. And I think it had a nice turnout. She was very open to feedback and was willing to hear what we had to say and was encouraging everyone to talk so it wasn't just the same 3 people to try and get the most and honest feedback that she could. And I thought that was nice, so that it's very thoughtful that she wanted to hear what we students have to say about it rather than just can't do much about it. So,
Good.
other than that, I don't got much.
At that food service meeting, Wendy and Anakai, myself also attended it, and we had students anywhere from 5th grade up to 12th grade that were there
Oh, wow.
at that meeting.
Did they just open it up to anybody could come?
I think Murray had a list of students she knew ate lunch pretty regularly
Oh, okay.
and would be willing to give some feedback.
Nice.
Good. Anything else?
That's it from me.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
No, I just had a thought though, maybe we want Marie to come and present that to us, what
Yeah, what they
her
learned.
findings and what she's
Yeah.
gonna do about it, maybe? kind of neat.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I'm just gonna ask because she's gonna ask if we want a meal served at that meeting or not.
Well, I won't turn one down. If she
So,
wants to.
I'll
but
let you know
I'm not
when-
expecting
No.
one, but.
Right, I'll let you know, 'cause
Yeah.
that's typically what they ask.
On to the superintendent report.
Okay, so, we have a lot going on this time of year, so we're getting ready to send 18 students to our Young Writers and Artists Conference. That'll be coming up on March 3rd. Those are 3rd through 6th grade students that, are chosen by their teachers to go. Targeted Services is up and running. We have 2 groups that meet for that. We have 11 students. Kindergarten Roundup is coming up on March 4th, so information has gone out on Facebook, emails, and a mailing will be going out soon for those families who don't have email or phone numbers with us. In the high school, you're gonna learn a little bit tonight about looking at a food ag science class. Andrea will be here talking about some stuff. And then on Wednesday, Andrea and David are meeting with Gwen about CTE funding for that class. Like Laura mentioned, we had our EMR graduation and that went very well. One thing we wanted everybody to know that one of the students that just completed that has accepted a position on the Madison Lake Fire Department.
Nice.
So, working on MCA planning and kicking that off, because we like to have a quiet building during that time. So Mr. Rysdam's in the process of booking field trips for the students that aren't testing. And then working on what we're gonna do for science, because we have so few of students that will be taking it this year. Nikki's been busy, creating schedules for our activities and for next year, and making sure everything's set for the spring. The Minnesota State High School League did approve our track and field co-op, so we'll be moving forward with that. There's a lot going on between now and the end of February, because all winter sports will be coming to an end. And then we have a couple or 4 students actually, Chloe being one of them, that are going to it's called SALT. Students are meeting for the Minnesota State High School League with Charlie Campbell for the Gopher Conference. So that'll be on Wednesday of this week. Negotiations, Wendy's been working on some costing tools for us to look at, as we have negotiations with non-certified coming up again on Wednesday evening. And she's working on a revised budget for this school year. Community education, Samantha's doing some research on different options for families. So when we close school early or we're closed because of inclement weather, looking into what other schools in our area are doing and how they're handling that. She's also looking at possibly adding an infant daycare to our SAC and wraparound program. Mike, with the buildings and grounds, we've hired an evening custodian. So that's a position that's been open since the beginning of the year, so that's been great. We've changed the filters in the drinking fountains and the HVAC units. And then we received a rebate from the city for $5,500. $5,800 for, because we've had lower electricity use, water consumption and the work we did 3 years ago with the weather stripping. Adam's been busy like normal. Him and Nate have worked on working with our card catalog system. So now they're sending emails out to everybody that has overdue books or Chromebooks. So we don't have as many of those. And then we'll start doing that MCA testing in the beginning of April. And Adam runs all of that for us, so that'll be taken care of. Annika's working on the Minnesota paid leave, because we all know that that's fun to deal with. We're transitioning from Frontline to Red Rover, which is our calling system. And our district newsletters should be hitting mailboxes this week. Laura, in the nurse's office, we have a blood drive this week, and then we have a wellness meeting on February 16th, and that's something we have to do by policy for our food program requirements. Sheila's working on getting DARE started. That'll be starting here in February. Looking at some new stuff with incident command kits for first responders. And then looking at moving to I Love You Guys standard response protocol instead of ALICE for non-critical incidences, and keeping ALICE for more severe critical incidences like school shootings. Then we're looking at our special education numbers for next year, and we're starting to create our evaluation schedule for the 26-27 school year. And then I did send out an email today letting staff know that we're looking at around a $300 budget deficit for the 26-27 school year. And it was just asking staff if they're retiring or going to be resigning at the end of the school year. The sooner they let us know, the better, so we can be open with the decisions we're making.
You meant 300,000, right?
Yes, 300,000, I'm sorry. And then talked about in March, not February, but in March, at the study session, we will be having a curriculum and instruction presentation. Any questions for me?
You said newsletters are coming out in mailboxes, right?
Yep.
Have they been addressed already?
Yep.
Did we ever figure out the multiple issue? Okay, good. I thought we could save money there then.
There weren't very many multiples, but
Oh.
we figured it out.
Except for my house, huh?
Any other questions for me?
All right, thank you. We will move on to the college and career update, and Andrea Grusendorf is here to talk about that.
Hi. Yeah, so just here to give a brief update on college and career readiness and what we're doing as a district to address some of that. Okay, so a lot of us are probably familiar with our strategic plan and the goals that we're working on, but we're looking at achieving the comprehensive achievement and civic readiness goals for all district students. So my position is specifically focusing on those objectives 1.3 and 1.4. So making sure all students are ready for career and or college by graduation, and then ensuring all students graduate from high school. So when it comes to our 7th through 12th grade, this is just kind of a layout of the different things we're doing throughout the different grade levels to address some of those things. So in 7th grade, we have a required skills for academic success course. This is a quarter-long class where students are learning some of those organizational skills, some of those note-taking skills, communication, advocating for themselves. So all of those things that we need to be successful moving forward. So we start that in 7th grade, and then 8th grade, we build on that, but then we also add a career exploration component. So they begin looking at future careers, looking at their interests, seeing how those interests might align with those careers. That, again, is another 1/4 course in 8th grade. From there, in 9th and 10th grade, we take them to a couple of different field trips, different exploration opportunities. 9th grade, we do the Career Navigator, and 10th grade, we do the Career Expo. So those are both events where we take those students to South Central, MSU, wherever the location is in Mankato at the time. And they get to see different or listen to different speakers in a variety of different career fields. For these two events, we are kind of told what speakers we get to listen to and learn more about. So it's a little different than the next one I'm going to talk about, which is the 11th grade, where they get to pick some of those, but we're starting that industry exposure in that 9th and 10th grade area. So 11th and 12th grade, we're really looking more into the application of that. 11th grade, there's a lot of stuff happening. One thing I forgot to put on here is a career fair that we take them to in the fall at Waseca. That went really well this year. I liked how they laid it out because previous years, they've done it where they've combined several schools being together at the same time. This year, they had a time slot for each school, so it was just our students networking with the colleges and career people there. And through discussions with students, it seemed like they took a lot out of it. They had genuine conversations. We got good feedback from the organizers of that event, so they did an awesome job. But building on that, in March, I am on a committee with the other school counselors. I think there's like 7 to 10 different schools that we partner with, and we do a career day event in March. This one is super cool because the students get to pick who speaks to them. So last month, in December, all juniors completed a career day survey where they identified 4 different careers that they would be interested in learning more about. So the nice thing with that is now I have an idea of what every single junior is interested in to some degree that I can use moving forward. But for our event in March, 3 of those careers, they will get to listen to speakers targeted to those. Last year was the first year with them. They used to do it way back before COVID, but now they just brought it back. Last year was our first year as a team running that again. The ASVAB, we did that in December. There were a few hiccups with that just because normally the Army recruiters, they come and help proctor that and administer it. But with the shutdown and everything going on, they didn't have the staff to send to us to administer it when we were originally scheduled. But the ASVAB has opened it up to where schools can assign a test administrator for that. So I became certified in administering and proctoring the ASVAB. So that is nice moving forward. We can go on our own timeline and not have to navigate around those other things. So that went really well. I would say almost every single student took it very seriously and took their time and genuinely answered the questions. I had a couple students that took up the whole reserved time slot that we had, which was kind of cool to see because then you know they were actually reading through and thinking it through. So we did just get those results back a few weeks ago. I will be meeting with the juniors as a group here in February to get them their results and kind of explain them a little bit and kind of give them a breakdown of what they can use them for. And then the last big thing for juniors is the ACT, which we have scheduled for March 18th. We actually do have a couple seniors that are also going to be taking it as well because for whatever reason they opted not to last year and then they realize now that they need it. So we do have that happening. And then 12th grade, this year I've started doing senior meetings with every senior to kind of review their graduation plans, see if they're on track for graduation, and if not, make sure that they know what they need to do. And then also talking about their post-secondary plans and what they want to do there. It's been really cool because I get to know what the students want to do. I'm not just assuming or guessing. And I've had some really cool conversations about, okay, yeah, I want to do this. Okay, how do I go about doing that? I would say I've only had 2 students that were genuinely not sure, didn't have a clue what they want to do in the future. So we've been having conversations of, okay, what are your interests? How do some of those careers align with that? And having those conversations. I've had maybe 3 that had couple different routes that they wanted to take. So then we talked about all those different options, and then they were able to kind of narrow it down a little bit. And then as far as other percentages, so we have about 43%, so a little less than half that are looking at going to a four-year university. We have 28% that are looking at going into the workforce. We have 23% that are looking at a 2-year or trade program. And then we have 6% that are going the military route. And then, so new opportunities for our students. We have some new certification opportunities that we started this year. The first one we have is officiating and reffing. We had 10 students partake in that, and they could earn anywhere from 2 to 4 certifications in different sports that they could be able to officiate and ref. We have the EMR, which has been talked about. We had 9 students graduate from that, and we've had a lot of interest for future years. We have RQI. Don't ask me what it stands for because I don't remember, but it is our program that we can use to certify staff and students in first aid and CPR. And then I think we've had 38 students complete that, whether it be for their own wanting to do that, and a couple that have gotten certified for employment reasons. Then we have CDL, so commercial driver's license. We have 2 students that we are piloting that with this semester. That is in combination with South Central, so they provide us the online content that the students work through, and then once they're done with that content, they will be eligible to take the permit test. And then from there, any behind the wheel and that kind of stuff is, the family's responsible for that. But we're at least getting that beginning step going. And then career seminar and work experience. So we've had work experience for several years now, but new this year is a career seminar. So any student that does work experience also has to do a career seminar. For this, they work with Miss O to figure out what certification they're doing, and that's an online self-paced class that results in some sort of certification. We have some students doing like mechanics stuff. We have some students doing like horticulture stuff. She has tons of different areas that students can get certified in. So that is new in conjunction with the work experience this year, and last semester we had 15 students get certified in that opportunity. New CIS courses, so college in the school courses. We have trigonometry that is being offered this semester, so brand new this year. And then we have choir and band that are getting performance college credit opportunities. And then we have our continued opportunities that we've been doing for a few years now. We have college algebra, college speech, composition, literature, early and modern European history, physiology and anatomy, art, welding, and then through the South Central Service Co-op, we have 3 academy tracks. So if we have students that are interested in IT, healthcare, or education, we can provide them some college opportunities that way. Okay, so going into credit recovery programs, so this is really looking at making sure all students are ready for graduation. We obviously sometimes have situations where students don't pass a class for whatever reason, so we have credit recovery to help get them back on track. These are just the stats over the last couple years. So during 23-24 school year, we had 44 students that were eligible for credit recovery, and they had 89 classes amongst those 44 students that they needed to recover. Last year, we dropped down to 33 students being eligible with 56 classes to recover. And this year, so far, we're looking at 20 students eligible with 25 classes. That number is subject to change because our incomplete timeframe is due at the end of this week, so that number can only go down. So good news is we're seeing it trending downward, and the less credit recovery that we have, the more students are on track for graduation. So that's good news. The other good piece of information that I don't have on here, but we, Rise Sam and I ran a missing and F list report at the end of semester 1. And we've seen a reduction in that number as well. So we're seeing students completing their work. In during the 23-24 school year, at the end of semester 1, we had 2,700 missing assignments or Fs. At the end of this semester, we've had 710, so it's dropped quite a bit. All right, and then the last thing I have for you is a course proposal that we are looking at for chemistry. We're working with the FACS department and the ag department and science to come up with an alternate to make sure that all of our students' needs are getting met. We do have, so I have 2 listed here, food science and innovation, and then agrochemistry. The food science would ideally be working with the FACS department, however that gets a little tricky. And then the agrochemistry would be looking at science and ag working together. Basically what we're looking at is having it run as a block class for half of the time. I'm just gonna speak to the ag chemistry one, just because the licensing for that is a little more clear cut than the FACS one. But we would be looking at having it be a block class like our normal chemistry. Half of that time, they'd be with the ag teacher learning the basic ag components, so learning about soil health, water quality, nutrition of those things. And then the second half of the class, they'd be going to Mr. Kehoe's room, or whatever science teacher, but Mr. Kehoe's room, and learning those chemistry standards. So kind of using the best of our resources and getting kind of curriculum tailored to what our students might need. The meeting, I know Jeremy talked about a meeting with Gwen. That meeting is now moved to tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Like I said, we're in the really early stages of planning because the licensing and what teachers are qualified to give credit for gets a little confusing. So hopefully Gwen can help us clear up a lot of that. But basically what we're just looking for right now is to kind of get your guys' blessing to continue to work towards that. The hope would be that we have everything solidified to be able to offer this to students next year. But we also know we might have to dig further into things, and it may get pushed out a year. But that's kind of what we're looking at. I do have course descriptions up there for you guys to read. I won't read them to you, but if you have any questions, let me know. Okay.
So going back to 1.3,
Yeah.
what is the benchmark? What are we measuring as far as whether or not we're improving on that? I mean, what are we actually going to go, we're getting better. So what's the measurement there?
That is a good question. So I would say for me, like this year, it's really focused on my senior meetings with students and for them to be able to articulate to me like what their plan is afterwards. Obviously, those plans might change along the way, but as long as they can tell me or another staff member, their case manager, whoever it might be, that they're at least thinking about their futures.
So could we implement something that's
Like a
actually
survey,
measurable?
Like a survey or something?
I mean, I
to the-
certainly could if,
I mean,
yeah.
because that's a bit nebulous.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this is an area that we definitely want to, well, it's obviously in our strategic plan, but, you know, if we don't measure something and know what we're going after, I think we're just going to keep throwing a lot of different things, and we won't really know whether it's working or not.
Yeah, yeah, I certainly can look at some sort of survey or
Other
something
schools
like.
might already have stuff out there too that you could kind of take and revise or whatever you want to do with it, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel there.
Right.
So,
And as you were doing, and I don't know where you're at in your senior visits,
I have 6 left, so they're mostly done.
so any things that kids or parents have said, boy, I wish I had known or done this, or, I mean, are we getting everything answered that,
Yeah, so what's covered in my senior surveys is checking in to see how their school year's going, obviously those, where they're at for graduation. Then I ask like, what is their plan for after graduation? So going into the workforce, 4-year, 2-year, that kind of stuff. And then I ask them specifically what majors or careers are of interest to them. And then kind of talking about those and asking like what they need from me to help them get to where they want to be. And that kind of stuff. But,
because right, a lot of those 4-year kids would have already applied, probably even gotten acceptances already.
yeah, most of these meetings were done in October. And there's just been a few that have been kind of hard to track down with full-time PSEO or work experience and them leaving for portions of the day, but.
So do you feel like you're covering the juniors well enough that if somebody has questions but they don't know what they should be asking, so much happens that junior year that really by the time senior year rolls around, it's
Yeah,
almost too late?
I feel like junior year, I do interact with them quite a bit, and I do have quite a bit of the juniors just coming to me to ask those questions automatically. My goal moving forward would be to implement more conversations with the freshman and sophomore, so that come junior year time, they hopefully don't have those questions anymore. So like a version of a senior meeting, but more geared towards those underclassmen.
Somebody else can go and then I've got more. Go ahead. Is the agrochemistry, is that proposed as a CIS class or no?
It is not.
Okay,
No, the hope would be that if we have the agrochemistry, we would have that. We would have regular chemistry, because that opens up 2 mainstream regular options. The hope in the future would be to add a CIS chemistry, because putting part of it on the ag teacher opens up a little bit more flexibility with the science department.
okay. And then as far as PSEO goes, just more classes this year from last year down, what, you know, obviously that's a big topic.
Yeah.
You know, from a budget standpoint, supporting kids, but where are we at PSEO wise?
Yeah, I would have to pull up my PSEO spreadsheet to give you the exact number, but we have somewhere between 40 to 50 that participated in semester 1. Semester 2, I have had 9 less students choose to participate for whatever reason. So yes, that is where we're looking, and I know Jeremy has been looking at the classes that students are choosing to do through that, and if there's a way that we can maybe look at adding more CIS options here, because like American government or psychology, those are very popular classes in PSEO. Okay, is there a way that we can bring them in-house?
How about advanced placement? Because I know I was saying through at the school board conference, they were talking about that's a more affordable option than PSEO.
Yeah, so advanced placement gets mixed reviews, just because of how the college credit is awarded. Some schools are going away from that just because it all solely relies on the big test at the end, whether you get the college credit or not. So, I mean, I'm not opposed to looking at that. I just know that how the college credit is earned has been tricky.
And teachers don't necessarily need a master's to teach that, so
Right,
it opens up
yeah.
more.
Yeah, so that could be something we look more at.
Is the big driver still to get that college credit, or do we still have a number of students that take those courses to avoid taking a class here?
I would say most of them are doing it for college credit and are planning on going the college route. However, we do have a few students that it is to be online or work from home and not come into the building. But I would say that's a handful.
And do we know how we might go after some of those kids to try to make it more enticing to stay, you know, here in school?
Yeah, That is a good question. If I had a magic wand for that, I would love to do that. A lot of it oftentimes is peer interactions and things of that nature, which, yes, I do have the difficult conversations and say, okay, these are things you're gonna have to overcome for the future and learn how to interact with those people. But ultimately, if they choose to do PSEO, I don't have much control or say over that, which is very frustrating.
Andrea, can I jump in real quick?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So Jeremy had shared something before.
Come up here. So you're on a mic.
Take this.
Grab Chloe's
Can't
mic.
rip this either, can I?
No.
Sorry.
Don't mind me.
Hey, Chloe.
Hello.
So Jeremy had shared a document with us from Pequot Lakes.
Yes.
And Mr. Stump, who you're all familiar with, has a principal there that's attacking this in kind of a unique way. And it makes sense. And literally what they're doing is they're jumping over the student and they're selling the parents. Okay? So essentially what it is then Andrea and I talked about it today, is personal meetings, one-on-one with student, with parent. We have to have that meeting anyway, but we usually do it as everybody together, give you all the information, that type of thing. But they also make it financial, right? If you choose this route, it's a 7% hit to your school district. If you choose this route, it's a 28% hit to your school district. If you go full PSEO, it's 42%, and that's killing us right now. I can also show you numbers that says that if you take CIS, American Literature, with us here, and you take it full online PSEO, you're gonna score 20% or better on any college exam because you took it from a teacher in the building. You're getting that every single day. You have contact every single day with this person, and you know the teacher. You can approach them, you can have those conversations with them. So not only does it benefit your school, but it also benefits your student because they're getting the best education that's available to them right now at this stage in their life. Once they move on to college and they're in classes every single day in person and they're learning that world, great. So what they're doing up there and being a salesman, sales pitches work, right? And so this is something that we've talked about. And it's something I think we're gonna continue to talk about because I don't like losing, and this is something that feels like we're losing, and I kind of want to get on the winning side of it again. So it's going to take work, but all positive things take work, so.
There is a big push at the state level to revise the PSEO program also.
I'd just rather
It's
not
ju-
wait for the state to do it.
Yeah, it's just gonna
So,
take
It's gonna
time.
take a while.
I just,
Again, a
yeah.
lot of people feel like we're using secondary education dollars to fund higher
Oh,
education.
that's all we're doing.
Yep.
That's all we're
Yeah.
doing. I mean, the only people's who enrollments are up right now are state colleges, and that has everything to do with them taking students out of our high schools. And granted, my kid's gonna take advantage of the opportunity too, right? I'm not anti-PSEO. I love what it offers our students to get that jump on life, to be able to come into the world semi-debt free. You know, I know what my education cost me, and it's a net benefit financially, it's a net benefit. Educationally, I'm not quite sure anybody can look at the data and say that it is a net benefit when the numbers, testing wise, so glaringly show what we do in the high schools more beneficial. So anyway, that was my 2 cents. Sorry, Andrew.
I'd like to know how many of the kids that take these PSEO classes, because my daughter did it for a full year at Bethany, but she still ended up with 4 years of college. I'd like to know how many
Yep.
of them
Yep.
actually
We've had
get
that
a,
conversation too.
Yeah.
I want to know how many actually finish the 4 years. You know what I mean? Because like you said, I think some of them take some of the classes because they're genuinely interested in them. But I think they fill the rest of their schedule because they don't want to be, you know what I mean? It's just easier to be at home. It's easier to do this online. It's just easier, and easy's not always best.
but wasn't the whole idea behind this in the beginning was to cut down the amount of time they end up in college and
I
the
couldn't
amount
tell
of
you what the
money that
rationale was.
their degree costs them? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's part of it, but then I think the question is too, what all transfers? Are these people, are the kids and the parents aware that some of the stuff they take might not actually
I think they,
benefit them?
I think
for-
that's something they specifically look at, don't they, when they're,
Yeah, when we have, quite a bit this year, I had PSEO meetings where the students came into my office to meet with the, like, South Central advisor. And, yeah, that has been a conversation of them plugging it into the transferology and seeing how it lines up. And then it's also a question of, okay, where is that student deciding to go afterwards? Because it's all gonna vary depending on the college too, and how they choose to accept that credit.
And that's why it's important to get to them as juniors, because once you're seniors, that's too late.
Right.
You know, so you may have done all of this, but you didn't understand that once you actually chose Gustavus or, you know, wherever, these 3 classes you just took, there's no direct tie to any class at Gustavus that they'll accept.
Right.
So it's worthless for them.
Yeah.
So I think those questions have to happen much sooner. Weighted grades, how's that going?
So this is the first year where weighted grades are going to be entered. So that is starting with our English honors and any 10th graders who did PSEO first semester. So those grades will be getting finalized and pushed through to the transcripts here after this week.
I mean, does it seem, or just too soon to tell?
Too soon to tell.
Okay.
Yep.
Your group that you meet with other career and readiness counselors,
Mm-hmm.
anything that you heard out of some of those meetings that they're doing that you don't have the resources or time or whatever that you wish we could be implementing that we're not?
Sure. Not specifically. A lot of times it's the same conversation that we just had about PSEO and them taking on that as a lot of their workload, which it shouldn't be. And yeah, that's a lot of the conversation. The main focus of our committee though is specifically for this career day event and planning the speakers for that.
Okay.
Do we offer college in school, or will we for next year to sophomores since they're able to take PSEO at that age?
It all depends on the college in the school class and what college it's run through and what their requirements are. So like this year, we have the band and choir. That course is run through Central Lakes College. Right now, we only have juniors and seniors doing it. It can be an option for 10th grade moving forward. I didn't know about it right away, because they require additional materials. So they require like a letter of recommendation and things like that to be accepted. So some of them could be, yeah. And then just making sure they have those prerequisites done to be able to take that.
Are we able to get like the data behind how they're doing in PSEO classes, like what their grades
Like-
are getting now that you're kind of the
Yeah,
last
so
semester
I have the
ended?
grades from last year, which we have input into a spreadsheet, and I do have the grades from last semester as well. I would say, so if I remember correctly, all the ones that we had last semester, I think we had 2 students that were not a positive grade,
Okay.
so.
Is it from withdrawal and that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Will it- Okay.
Yep. So generally, they're pretty successful, but there's been a handful that have not been, and kind of figuring out the logistics of that, and okay, because depending on the school, they might let them continue in PSEO where, okay, why, kind of thing, and having those conversations.
Oh, so they could take PSEO after withdrawals
Sometimes,
in
yeah.
the next semester?
Yeah,
And that depends on the school, not us.
that depends on the school.
But can we create rules around that?
We can write them into place, but then the state will tell us we're not supposed to do that. So no.
So we cannot say if they don't have a positive experience or, you know, don't do well or something,
Yeah.
we can't cut PSEO
We
off for them.
can't. If the school allows them to do it, we have to allow them to do it.
And if they were to withdraw in September, are you notified of that, or?
I am supposed to be notified when they're withdrawn. Sometimes that takes longer than I'd like it to, but generally, yes, they
And in
notify
that
me.
example, what do the students do? Do they have to come into the building then if they were off campus? or-
Depending on the time frame of when the withdrawal happened, if it's like within those first couple weeks and I can get them back into the building for a class, that would be ideal. Otherwise, a study hall or something like that. If it's late, if it's too late into the semester, they're not gonna notify me until the final grades come. So then it's kinda too late to do a schedule at that point.
I was gonna say, what would be the motivation of a student to withdraw versus
Not
just
real-
not go?
Not realize, well, then you're not gonna have that grade follow you.
But
Two.
is it gonna follow you? Which transcript is that gonna follow you on?
That's true.
What transcript will that follow you on?
So if you withdraw from the class early enough, then
Yep.
it doesn't show up on the transcript. If
It
you
does
wait,
not show up as a W on there?
if it's within, say, the first 2 weeks,
Yes.
then it
Yep.
won't. But if it's after that, it does show up on the college transcript side of things. And that is where, like, your financial aid could be jeopardized because they pay attention to the completion rate of the courses that a student has done. And if they fall below a certain point, then they might not be eligible for financial aid.
But let's say that kid isn't, so I just don't request those transcripts from South Central. Which transcript are you referring to? Would it be on their high school transcript?
So-
Because if I don't request mine from MSU, does anybody know that even exists?
Right. So on the college side, I do make a note of that if they withdrew or they got an F, so it does come on their high school side. And then on the college side, it would show up on their college side. They could choose to not send it. Most of your college applications have like a disclaimer in there saying like, make sure you've shared all of this with us. If not, you could be dismissed or your application could be revoked.
Chloe, how about you? Any questions or experiences or anything you just share as you're coming through the process as far as career and college readiness?
To be honest, I take PSEO classes. I like them just because it's helping me prepare for when I eventually do step out into that college life and have to do that on a regular basis. And the financial part of it being free to us as high school students is nice. But I don't know what I'm going to do after high school yet, but that's why I'm working at my generals that both help me in the high school and college level to where it cancels them out to where I'm getting them both done at once, which is a good effect.
You bet. That's all I have for now.
Anybody else have any other questions for Andrea?
I'd just like to say that I'm really impressed with how this area is growing here at our school and the work you're putting in. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I do have one more.
Yeah.
AI,
Don't even.
just, what role are you using AI to help kids? And how are you helping, get them to understand and how it can help them in this area of career readiness, college readiness?
Yeah.
How are you embracing
Yeah.
or
So,
not embracing
well,
AI?
I'll be honest, I helped AI create this, so we're dabbling. When it comes to the online stuff that we have going on right now, I monitor a lot of that, and there are AI components to that. They let me run like an AI integrity report. So last year, not as much this year, which I think is a good thing. I've been having to have conversations with students of, hey, this was plagiarized, or this detected AI use. Tell me more about that. Okay, when are appropriate times to use this? When is not? When is it considered stealing information? And so having a lot of those conversations has been interesting. And I'll have students tell me like, oh, I didn't know that was plagiarized or that was a problem. And so just talking about that. I know the English department pays very close attention to AI, and they have all the tricks up their sleeve that I'm gonna have to have them teach me one day. But their whole focus is what it should be moving forward. Like, okay, this is a writing class. There's no reason for AI in that. Whereas, okay, maybe AI can help you format a presentation or something along those lines.
Do you deal a lot with mental health too, or not as much?
So I don't deal with it a ton, just because we have Miss Stevenson, but when she's out, or when she's just bombarded on
Yeah.
crazy Friday the 13th days, that might be crazy. I do get some students, or if she has like an out-of-school, like, connection with a family and might not be comfortable meeting with that student, then she's referred them to me, as well. So not a ton, but I do have the ability to, with my school counseling background, to take on some of those mental health supports.
Yeah.
Anything else? All right, thank you, Andrea.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. We do need some approval to move forward with the ag, food, science classes. So,
So for both of them that were listed on there, to continue to,
move forward with the process.
of researching them and, okay.
And why? Why do you need
Yeah.
our approval on that?
We need to get it in the catalog so we can get the kids registered for next year.
And because it's one of those classes that would satisfy a graduation requirement.
Yep.
With the new recent changes, is there gonna be any changes to that? With the new recent update that you put in on the personnel changes?
We don't know that yet. Could
So
it?
it-
It may not.
So if we approve this, it could change, is what, I just wanna make sure.
Absolutely, it could
Okay,
change.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fine
and
with that then.
kind of what my plan would be to put it in the registration catalog, but let students know, like, hey, if you elect this, this may not happen, we're in the works of it. If for some reason it doesn't happen, then you'll be plugged into the regular calendar.
So I'm all for it. I mean, I would
Yeah.
vote to approve continuing to explore it. I mean,
Yeah.
anytime you can find the
Right.
multidisciplinary avenues to be able to grab this, it's a win-win,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'm hoping this takes off and it's very successful, because I can see where geometry and woodworking or metalworking and how that could all work together also.
So I would make a motion to move forward with it.
Motion by Kevin Bourne, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Laura Size. Is there any further discussion? If no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 6-0. All right, have fun with that.
You're more than welcome to stay. If you want to leave, you're more than welcome to leave also. Wendy, treasurer's report.
Just kind of a light one again this month, just showing our cash balances. Are, continuing with our trends, but just lower, so, we'll have to keep on working on turning that around and getting our current line higher fund balance. We have, one of the CDs is coming up for renewal next week. I plan to just work with Sean Finley at the bank and just renew that one for another year. They're staggered at 6 months, so we have 1-year CDs for 2 1-year CDs that are staggered. Just kind of reinvest that. And
Do you have rates off the top of your head?
I don't. I haven't talked to Sean for a couple months on rates. They're 4-ish, I would say. I don't have them off the top of my head.
Thank you.
And then the student estimated counts, I didn't update that just because the final fall data was submitted during December, and sometime in the next week or so I would expect to see some final reports from the state to get good numbers. So these are still the numbers from last month that we looked at. Andrea, I counted about 44 kids taking PSEO, so you were right on there. So as she said, a few fewer in spring, so as we look at that ADM on our Mars data column, we'll maybe see that number go up, maybe a little bit from our estimates, we'll see. So that's all I have. Any questions?
The PSEO kids that you count on there,
Mhm.
are they 100% out of the building, or?
No, I took Andrea's spreadsheet that's, shows how many classes they're taking, and I kind of averaged it out about how many ADM, I'm kind of estimating an average ADM that we're capturing from those students.
And how does that compare to last year?
Fewer students than last year. Last year we had, that was our big senior class, and a lot of participation in PSEO. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but it's quite a lot fewer.
Do we know percentage-wise if it's gone down? Because, you're gonna have a bigger class, probably gonna have more.
Yes, I would say
PSEO versus-
percentage-wise has gone down as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Wendy. On to committee reports, the non-certified negotiations.
We had our non-certified negotiations 2 weeks ago, and we will meet again on Wednesday of this week to continue our discussion with language and dollars. So Wendy's pulled some information together for us for when we're talking about how it could affect the school budget in the future.
Okay, thank you. On to the consent agenda. Is there anything that needs to be pulled out of that before we motion for approval? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Laura Size, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Dave Olson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 6-0. Okay, no old business and on to new business. So the first reading of policy 513. Did you want to talk about that?
Policy 513, there were some minor changes from the School Board Association on 513. However, we made a couple additional changes. One of them specifically is in the early kindergarten admission procedure. So we put the strike through in, and we didn't put an end date on it. Or we took that off because that can be controversial, whether a kid turns, or whether a child turns 5 on October 15th or October 27th, does it really matter, as long as they've went through the assessments and our school psychologist is either recommending or not recommending them in kindergarten. So we did take that date out. So anybody, or any students after September 2nd, the family has to pay for all this evaluation, and then our school psychologist makes a recommendation, and then we typically will follow that recommendation. So that is the one major change that was made in this policy.
Any questions or thoughts on that? Okay, well, this is the first reading, so we still have a few more to go, so if you do come up with anything, let us know. All right. On to the 2026-27 school district calendar.
Okay, so we talked about this a month ago or so. I put 3 calendars together, took them to the union, the teachers' union co-presidents, and they went through them, looked at them, said, yeah, they look good. let's put them out for vote. So calendar A there, we had 9 staff vote for it. That would be a traditional school year starting the Tuesday after Labor Day, and we'd be finished on, I think it was June 3rd, with teacher workshop June 4th. Calendar B, we had 40 staff members vote for that calendar. That one is taking into consideration that the state said that for 26, 27, 27, 28, we can start on September 1st. So calendar B does start on September 1st. So we'd go 3 days that first week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We'd have Friday through Monday off, back on Tuesday, the Tuesday after Labor Day. And school would be out on May 28th, and then graduation, and our final workshop day would be May 29th. Calendar C, somebody said, put a spring break in, so I made a third calendar, put that spring break in. We had 28 staff members vote for that. That one essentially is calendar B and a mixture of A, where it was you would start September 1st. However, because we'd have a spring break in there around that Easter holiday, we would not get out of school until last day with students would be June 3rd, and final workshop day would be June 4th. So the recommendation I would bring forward is that we would approve calendar B for the 26-27 school year.
I would make a motion to do so.
To approve calendar B?
I'll
Yes.
second it.
Is there any further discussion? If no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 6-0 for calendar B. Last is the contract between JWP and New Richland for the certified occupational therapy assistant.
So we have a certified occupational therapy assistant who comes in and works with our students. We split her contract with New Richland every year. Why we're getting this so late this year, I don't know. However, we pay 40% of the contract, so January 15th is the first payment, then June, and then we do a finalized cleanup payment in December. She did have a small increase from last year to this year, nothing major though.
Any questions on that?
I'll move to approve that contract.
Motion by Laura Size, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Dave Olson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries 6-0. Our list of upcoming meetings, we have a regular meeting on February 9th, study session with the curriculum and instruction presentation on March 2nd. March 16th is a regular meeting. April 6th is a study session including finance and operations. April 20th is a regular meeting. May 4th, a study session. May 18th, a regular meeting. June 1st, a study session with curriculum and instruction. And then June 15th and July 20th are regular meetings. So with that, we will adjourn at 6:33.
I will not be here on February 9th. I'll be in the Cayman Islands. Oh, yeah.
So you can do a virtual meeting?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's allowed now.